Thursday again. Crazy how time goes by so fast. I feel like it was just Thursday. But, anyways, we have a lot to cover tonight, which I'm super excited about. First of all, we had our party on Sunday, which was so amazing. And one thing that I talked a lot about during the party is celebrating you guys and celebrating this incredible community that we have and celebrating all of your guys' achievements because it's huge. The progress that you guys make, how hard you work at your riding is so admirable. I'm truly inspired by all of you guys. Hi, Amy. You are right on time. And so it's really fun to be a part of this community. And I'm also so grateful to you guys for how much you support one another and encourage one another because it's really special. And we all need that in riding and dealing with horses. It's hard, there's a lot of ups and downs. And so the more that we can be there to support and help one another, it makes just a huge difference. So I wanted to remind you guys that Strides with Amelia is only open for enrollment for 2 more days. So we've already had a ton of new students sign up for the program. I am super excited to get to work with all of you guys. It's such an amazing program, and I really feel like the students inside of Strides, I feel like you guys are my students in real life because we spend a lot of time together. We do a lot of Zoom calls together. I get to see your videos, and it's really a committed and supportive group of students that are dedicated to their riding and really dedicated to the process of training a horse. It takes a long time to train a horse. It takes being super dedicated to the process and to the training month after month after month after month. So I'm really eager to get to work with a new group of students. And like I said, the doors are closing on Saturday. Saturday is your last chance to sign up for the rest of the year. We have a lot of really, really cool things planned for the rest of the year. So this month in Strides, we are focusing on engagement of the hind end, which is a really important topic when we ride our horses, when we develop our horses. We want them to engage their hind end. And this is hard to do. It's hard to figure out when you're on your horse. You can't talk to your horse and you can't tell your horse, like, hey, like, use your butt. And so you have to find other ways to communicate with your horse and to get aids that talk to the hind legs. So one thing in Strides that people are practicing, which is super fun, is I put in this. So in Strides, every month, I give them a new set of exercises. And one of the exercises this month for engagement of the hind end is just teaching simple leg lifting. And that's basically where you teach your horse that if you touch them with the whip or with a stick, that they lift and hold up their leg. This seems like a really simple and basic thing, but it really helps your horse basically associate that you want to be talking to the hind leg, like that you want an aid that communicates back to the hind leg. And it also, like, when the horse has to balance on one hind leg and lift the other hind leg, it requires strength. So just like you, like if you're standing here and you lift up one leg, it strengthens your opposite leg. So anyways, that's one of the exercises for engagement of the hind end. And on the WhatsApp group, there's been a lot of discussion of people trying it out with their horses, trying different things, experimenting, some people having great success, other people not so much, and helping one another. So that's one thing inside of Strides, which is really cool, is the community aspect. And that I give you a new set of exercises and then you all work on it together. The other cool thing inside of Strides is, so I give you exercises to go start practicing. Then we do a theory session. So later this month, we're going to do a theory session about engagement of the hind end. And the theory session is really about teaching you the mechanics of how to engage your horse's hind end. So when we think about our horse, all of our horses have a little bit of a different conformation. Some horses are built more uphill, some horses are built more downhill, some horses are longer in the back, some horses are shorter in the back. So in that lecture, I'm really going to go into the mechanics of the horse's anatomy and how their body actually works so that we can engage their hind end. So you get the exercises to engage the hind end. You get to understand a little bit of the theory and the anatomy of how horse's body works. And then the kind of the third piece that's important in training and that we talk a lot about in strides is the process of developing a horse, teaching a horse to engage their hind end, and then how that evolves over time. Because engagement of the hind end with a new horse or a young horse at training level is a very different thing than Grand Prix. And it takes a long time to get from training level to Grand Prix. So anyways, it's just a special group, and it's a program that I think is hard to communicate to people, like why it's so special, because there's so much going on. So honestly, if you're kind of undecided, give it a try. The link should either be above or below, and there is a money back guarantee, and you can cancel it at any time. So it's $49 a month, which is basically less than a lesson, and you get a lot more input and information for that money. So it's really a good bang for your buck. One thing that I also wanted to talk about for my Strides members and for all of you guys is there was some discussion on there. One of the things in Strides is you can submit video to me. And then during the live call, I actually show the video on Zoom and then give students specific feedback to help them with their riding. And some of the students were like, "Oh, I'm too afraid to submit video." Like it's a big deal, right? To submit a video to me, for me to put it up in front of a group of students is a huge leap. It's a leap of faith. It's putting yourself out there. It makes yourself vulnerable. And, you maybe feel like you're not good enough or like it's still a work in progress and you have a lot to improve. But that's one part that's really special about our community and especially about Strides is that we are really supportive of one another. And it's really important to me that we understand that regardless of where you are on your journey, whether you're just beginning in your journey or whether you're riding the FEI, the reality of it is that we're all trying to get better. And it's not like any of us are better than anyone else. Like I struggle with the same stuff as you guys do. Like I wrote a whole post last week about dealing with discouragement and frustration and I have the same problems that you do. It's just at a different level. And it's really important that I tell you guys that I never, like when I see someone, when I go to a clinic and I have a new group of students, I really don't care how beginner you are or how basic I have to go to teach you. The only thing that matters to me is that you're willing to learn and that you have an appropriate horse that I can safely teach you on. And that is really the only thing that matters. And it's so important. So I would just encourage you, if you are shy and afraid to submit a video to me, it's a good goal. It's a good goal to make and to put yourself out there because you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to grow and you have to seek help and you have to put yourself out there. And, I do it all the time. Like it would be a lot easier for me to just stay at my home barn and never go anywhere. But then I don't grow. So, anyways, I hope if you're on the fence about joining Strides that you do it. There's just a few days left to enroll. And I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about goals because let me know in the chat if you attended my goal seminar. I did one on January 1st. So, what were your goals for the year? and how are you doing with achieving those goals? And so I set some goals at the beginning of the year. I actually have them posted on my wall, like right behind my computer here. You guys can't see them, but they're right there. And that's one thing that I think is really helpful, is to write some goals out and then post them somewhere where you see them every single day. So Lily had a goal about her seat. I had a few competition goals for my horses. So one of my goals was actually to qualify Harvey, Kensington, and Luigi for nationals in Chicago, which is pretty exciting because I actually accomplished that. And a lot of times you set goals and you don't achieve them. That's totally fine too. I have some other goals up here on my wall that I feel like I'm kind of failing at. So this is a good time. It's August. We're 8 months into the year. It's a good time to go back and reassess your goals. Sometimes you need to pivot and change your goals if something has changed. Let's see. Retaf says, I want to go to the national eventing competition and improve my dressage. That's a good goal. Diana says, I did attend the goal session. I entered my first show coming up in August for second one. It was my goal. Yay. Good for you, Diana. That's awesome. That is really awesome. So yeah, part of what I did at the goal setting session is that I think it's always important to dream a little, like when you're setting your goals, and to really think about like, okay, if you could have like the best year ever, what would you accomplish? And it's not too late to set goals. So it's August 1st. There's still 5 months. So we still have August, September, October, November, December. There's still 5 months in this year that you could set a goal and you could achieve it. Someone else says, to get to a horse show after 2 years of not showing, and I did it last June. Good for you. Claudia, I want to show for the first time this year. That's one of my goals. Another person says, I want to compete 4th level. So I'm so proud of all you guys for having these goals. It's really important that once you have your goal, that you break it down. So your goal, we call that like an objective. And then you need to break it down into key results. So you need to break that down into, if your goal is to show 2nd level by the end of the year, what do you need to start doing now to make that happen? So you need to be riding 4 to 5 times a week. You need to get education. You need to get help. You need to take lessons. You need to do whatever. And then breaking it down even more, like what specific exercises are your weakest exercises, and just start chipping away at that. And I think that is really important, is to have these audacious goals that you're working towards, but you can't just have audacious goals. You have to do the work. And so much of riding and horses is about that consistency, and like every single month just chipping away at it. And I made this analogy, like, when you're in school and you have an exam coming up, like you can kind of cram for the exam, and you can cram all that information in your head and like retain it for a short period of time to take your test or whatever. And then like 2 weeks later, you don't remember anything. So it doesn't work like that with horses at all. Like horses learn through repetition and consistency. So it takes a long, long time to train your horse, to train their brain how to respond to the aids. And then also not only their brain, but their body has to catch up. I think of dressage as kind of a gymnastics for the horses. So the horses have to be super supple, and they also have to be strong. It's like both of those things that your horse has to have in order to really do well at dressage. So that's a big part of the reason that I created Strides, is because it's really important that you have that support and that consistency to help you move towards your goals. And dressage and riding is a very slow and consistent sport. It's not something that just happens overnight. And it's also, I think that's sometimes why we get discouraged in riding and with our horses, is that we expect like the progress to be really steep and fast, and it's not. It's like a really like slow and steady progress. So yeah, that's super important. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. DS says, I was at the goal setting session. I have been able to obtain some extension, but my horse's contact is still inconsistent. She is rounder overall. I'm better. Good. Um, Someone else says, I'm 63, never showed, started riding last year. My goal is first level, and my boy is 27. Okay, that's a good goal. It is hard when you don't have an arena and the arenas around won't let you bring your trainer. Oh, yes, that is hard. That is really hard. I'm showing my 4-year-old intro and we got show high score. Yes, good for you. Show high point for Anne. Congratulations, Anne. That's awesome. Diana, sometimes I go backwards a bit before going forward. Yes, we all do. That's totally normal to go a little bit like to almost get worse before you get better. And that's where it's really important, when you're in one of those phases where you feel like you're getting worse or you're frustrated and you're actually going down. That's where you need community and you need support and you need people to help you to get through that and to encourage you through that process. So it's really important to have goals. And like I said, it's August, but there's still 5 months left. So go back and kind of reassess your goals from the beginning of the year and then really break it down into those key results. Like, what exactly do you need to be doing week by week and ride by ride to get towards those goals? I think that is super important. So someone has a question, what do you do when you are nervous before a show? I think that two things. I think when you're going to a show, you have to really have faith in all of the work that you've done leading up to that show. And you have to go into the show being as prepared as possible so that you can have success. And then some of the nervousness is you have to get to where you can channel it into having a really good performance. I think that is really an important part of showing is being able to take your excitement and your nervousness and channel it into doing the best that you can do. So I hope that this little renew of goal setting is helpful to all of you guys. Okay, I wanted to take a moment to take you inside of Strides. I'm going to try to screen share, which I've never done before from this platform. So hopefully it works. Hang on, let's see if it works. Okay, I hope that you guys can all see this now. So this is a look inside of Strides. So if you join Strides this week, this is what it will look like on the inside. There's an introduction, and this survey here is super important. So when you join Strides, there's pretty detailed survey that you'll fill out, which gives me a lot of information about you. So it helps me to understand what your goals are, what your level is, so that I can really be creating content for you. We also have a podcast. So all of the lectures that we do, we also make into podcasts so you can listen to them at any time. We have a WhatsApp group. We have a calendar of all the upcoming events. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the content. So this month, August, we're focusing on engagement of the hind end. So you can see all the exercises. We have leg lifting, turn on the forehand, turn on the forehand into the rein back, trot, walk, trot transitions, trot, trot transitions, canter, walk, canter, and then straightness for engagement. So one thing about Strides, which is super cool, is that we have riders of all levels. So one unicorn is a more novice exercise, 2 unicorns is intermediate, and 3 unicorns is advanced. So every month there's something for everyone. That said, dressage is all about the basics. And so, even if you're a more advanced rider, you always want to be going back to these basics. And like, for example, the leg lifting exercise is a really great exercise that I do even with Harvey, even with my more advanced horses. Then when you join Strides, you'll also get access to some of the past workshops. So in July, we did a workshop on the independent seat. And this was a super fun workshop. I really enjoyed this workshop. I did a lecture about the independent seat. And then we had a bunch of different exercises to help you with your independent seat. So for example, if you click in here, you can see the video about your independent seat and then some warm-up exercises to help you. We had a video about transitions. We have a video about riding without stirrups and weight placement. In June, we did an extra workshop on rider psychology. This is a huge thing, you guys. Like, your mindset and your psychology has such a huge impact on your riding. Like, I can't stress that enough. It is just like super, super important to understand what a big impact your brain has on the way your rides go. And I see this all the time with my students, like my students that really come to their ride in a good mindset where they're positive and they're focused and they're in the moment. They have such a better ride. And so that's a little bit of a look inside of Strides, and there is a lot of content in it. So it can be a bit overwhelming at first, but that's also the beauty of it, is it is kind of a library of content that grows every single month. So when you have a question or you're struggling with something, you can go back and review the content at a later time. And like I said, this is the last Saturday is the last day to join for the rest of the year. So Diana, if you're already a member, should we do the survey again? Yes, you can do the survey again, because I've been reading through all of the answers, and it really helps me to see where you guys are in your journey, where you're stuck, where you need help, so that I can get a better idea of exercises and topics to help you guys. So I was actually reading through the survey, and it's pretty cool to hear from you guys. Here's some of the responses. So someone said, I'm 57 and went back to riding 8 years ago. I ride lesson horses at the barn, so they switch up. Someone else says, I'm 69 years old and started riding again after a 25-year hiatus. Let me know if any of you guys are that, where you rode as a kid, you took a break, and then now you're riding again later on in your life. Let's see. Someone else says, I dove into dressage in your videos because that horse didn't work out as a show horse. What else? Oh, here's someone that has 5 horses. They vary in age from 5 to 16. That's a lot of horses. Someone else says, I have a Dutch warm blood I imported from Amsterdam. Another person says, I started riding dressage about 20 years ago at about 50. Previously a pleasure, Western drill, and speed event rider with my paint. Another student says, I'm 51, and while I've ridden for many years, I bought my first horse a year ago. Rocky is a 15-hand Morgan who has schooled through second and has some third-level movements. Another rider, after a 10-year hiatus from riding, I decided to return. So I think that is one thing that is really special about Strides and about our community as a whole, is that you can see there's a lot of different ages of horses, of riders. There's a lot of different experience levels. There's a lot of different disciplines, like people that were jumpers or Western or whatever. And we all come together and support one another and educate one another. And so it makes it just a really, really special program. So Linda says she came back after a 35-year break. Claudia says, I started riding just 3 years ago at the age of 40. I now have 2 horses. Anne says, yes, now 66 and starting at intro with young horses. Cool. Good for you guys. So yeah, it's cool. I'm so proud of this community. And like I said, if you were there on Sunday, it really is rewarding for me to hear from you guys and to hear about the progress that you make with your horses and the wins that you have. And I really want to thank all of you guys for how hard you work and what good students you are, because I know how hard you guys try and how much you watch the videos and you listen to the lectures, and you're really dedicated students of dressage. And dressage means training, and you're learners for life when you are a rider and when you have horses. And it's also cool because riding is something that you can do, late in your life. It's not like gymnastics where you're kind of like peaked at the age of 16. You can keep riding. I have students that are like well into their 70s. I even had one person who's in their 80s. And so that makes it really, really special. And it's super fun to get to work with all of you guys and be a part of your success, and just to give you that joy and that encouragement along the way, I think is really special. So I appreciate all of you guys. And yeah, I hope that if you're on the fence about whether or not to join Strides and you enjoy my content, you enjoy my videos, you like these Facebook Lives, I would definitely say to give it a try. You can always cancel it at any time, but Saturday is the last day to enroll. And so the workshops that we're doing for the rest of the year, this month is engagement of the hind end. Next month, we're doing straightness. We also have a seminar on pelvic floor health that is going to be exclusive for members of Strides. So that's another special thing. In addition, we have monthly Pilates sessions that are live, which is another thing we just added to Strides. And we have motivation sessions. So there's a lot inside of the program, and it's a special program. It's one of my favorite. I started Strides almost 2 years ago. It used to be called the monthly workshops, which is like a terrible name, but I have learned so much from the students and also from putting together lectures, like theory lectures. I put together theory lectures every single month for 22 months. I plan to continue doing it because it forces me to read books, to pick out images to help you guys understand what you're supposed to do. And that's an important part of riding, is the time in the saddle and doing the exercises is priority, but understanding the theory of dressage and how we train our horses and the biomechanics and the system of dressage, that is equally important. And a lot of times, even if you have a trainer, like I was looking at this survey, most of the students in Strides, about 20% don't have a trainer. About 30% have a trainer that they work with 2 to 3 times a week. But even if you have a trainer, sometimes it's hard to get enough theory, because when you're in a lesson, like when I'm in a lesson, when I'm teaching someone, I have to really be telling them exactly what to do, like do this, do that, do this, do that. And so if I take 20 minutes to explain to them the theory of suppleness and connection and how they're all related, then I'm not giving them the information that they need to be riding their horse in the moment. So that's one thing that's really cool about Strides, even if you have a trainer that you work with, is to get the theory behind what you're doing. So anyways, let's see. Linda says so many great things to look forward to. Yes, we are going to have a great rest of the year. And I'm really committed to my students inside of Strides that, like, these last 5 months, we are going to get things done. And I think that's important. I talked about last week, I think, living with that sense of urgency and like, this is your time. This is your chance. You have a horse, you're able to ride, and it's worth the investment in your education so that you can make progress and not end up just frustrated and riding circle after circle. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the year, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys. So anyways, thank you for watching tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next Thursday.